Dun, 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 dun. Look at little Nubsky just sticking it there. Good night. Already. Maybe if I just put it back in there, it'll be okay.
All right, well, I wish I could say it was fun while it lasted, and even though it was fun, it didn't last very long. And honestly, I didn't think it would. I hit the e-brake, turned into the corner, I let off the clutch, and right when I let off the clutch, it just snapped, and then you can hear it dangling around in there, and I limped it home with one tire fire right there. But yeah, didn't last very long. Angle kit, you would think I'd give up from here, but that's right, this is not a Subaru diff. If you have looked into the rear-wheel drive setups, you're going to realize that most of the guys running a decent amount of power that are rear-wheel drive are not running the R180 or the R160. If they are, they're breaking a decent amount of stuff. There are two options to bump up the strength. You can use an R200, like the older model, like the long nose one, or people are doing the newer ones, whether it's a Silvia setup. Silvia is pretty popular. This right here is a Z33 or 350Z rear end with Silvia hubs. So we're going to slap this inside the Legacy. Now I can kind of let you guys in on the whole plan or thought process of the build. I bought the car not knowing it had an R160. Honestly, 6-speed H6, that was what's on my mind. Most of the years, if not all the years, yeah, it's pretty much been Forester, GC8, you know, or just Imprezas in general. And yeah, every time you see 6-speed, you see R180s, good drive shafts, good hubs, you know, it's just the way that it is. Pump power, and it doesn't really matter, right? I get the EZ30, and I was actually changing to the Brembo brakes. And as I'm looking at the Brembo brakes, I'm looking back at that drive shaft, and I'm like, that is not an R180 drive shaft. And I look back and I realized that the diff was an R160. So I reached out to Subaru Dave, got his custom races, made a hybrid axle, got the R180 set up, knowing after I supercharge or turbocharge, because originally I didn't know which one I was going to do, I'm going to eventually be breaking drive shafts. First things first, I'm going to be taking off the Brembos, taking off the rotors, and I'm going to try to pop off both sides, both hubs, the drive shaft. If I could take the drive shafts out from this portion right here, that'd be great. And then take out the R180. For today, I'm going to try to get these hubs to fit. So one really cool thing about the Legacy setup, it is very similar to the 08 to 14 setups like the Imprezas. This is one of 4. If you know already, so if maybe you don't know, the early model GDBs, GC8s, Forester STIs also, they do not have a bolt-on style hub. You actually have to take the knuckle and you basically have the bearings and the hub pressed in together. So you cannot actually just pop off the hub like you can here. So that's my saving grace. The only way that this is even possible to do a beefier setup like this without machining down this piece and just pressing it into a Subaru knuckle. That's what a lot of the other guys are doing. But yeah, this way should be a lot easier. Now, is the diameter the same? Boom, look at that. Amazing. That's crazy. I don't even know. how much I would actually have to. It looks literally the exact same. JDM. I guess another easy way I could do to test it out is I could slap this on here. There is a very slight difference. So I'd have to bore this portion open a little bit, this portion, and then, you know, something along those lines. So bore these ones out. These ones here will be a little bit more fun because it's, as you can see, some pretty thick aluminum. Get you some good bits, man. Get some good bits. All right, so easy as that, right? So just boring it out a little bit. As you can see, it's just kind of like it's just more of an oval now. Right, the actual center portion is the exact same, right? So that the strength and it being centralized is not a problem. Boring this stuff here, it's not gonna matter. Once you tighten that stuff in, it ain't going nowhere, right? So we got all 4 of them in. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this back on here, and I'm going to use this as a template and bore the back side out. Way longer than I expected. It'd be really, really nice. I mean, if you just took the whole thing, if you have a press, just go ahead and mark it where it needs to be and just go straight down. Using that little Dremel thing right there takes forever. I think I got it though. There you go. We have the S15 hub on the Legacy. But yeah, this is the easy part. Next thing, what we'll do is I'll start doing the other side. The other side I won't go through, and I mean it's pretty simple, right? You're just boring out the holes. They are more oval, so it's, you know, I'm not just making them a bigger circle. I'm trying to get as best as I can, just bored out in the direction that it needs to go. And then, yeah, we'll get the diff out, get the other side disassembled. All right, there you go. Look at that thing. It's a monster. Hopefully you'll be able to have some weight in the back wheels, because man, this thing got no traction in the back. 225s too though. So as you can see, the middle one is the hybrid Legacy drive shaft, and then you have the Fairlady or the 350Z, whatever you call it in your country. But one of them, the top one there, is actually shorter than this one because of the offset, and here are the diffs lined up together. So this is the subframe that we're working with. The Legacies have a drop down bracket and then the 2 on the back. The Fairlady or the 350Zs only have 1, and usually there's studs coming down from the top. So really what would be nice is if I would be able to cut here, create some type of plate, a thick plate that goes across, right? Weld it in with some studs coming down so I can just slide the diff up and then nut it, put the nuts on the bottom. But first things first, let's go ahead and jack this thing up there and just kind of see what we're working with. So we got that side done along with the other side. And now I'm locking up the diff. I brought it up there, and I've cut off the brackets that come here, and I've cut a big square out here. Messing around with it and trying to cut as less as possible, it just is not gonna fit. So cutting that much. Now I'll place it up there and just see exactly where the holes need to be, and I'm gonna run a steel plate across with the studs coming down for the front, and then just the 1 bolt in the back. Should be pretty straightforward. I'm hoping for something like this. So this portion I can just weld in a more heavy duty piece, drill the hole where it needs to be. So that's done right there. And then the top right here, just a thicker piece that goes down with the studs. It's pretty straightforward. Problem, of course, is the drive shaft location. So if you were to look through the hole here, oh wow, that's actually pretty decent. Yeah, looking straight down the hole, there it is too. So I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, we'll try to basically go around with this right here. I didn't want to go past, I was hoping at least, right, that I didn't have to go past this right here, because you know, if I go past this, then I got to figure out how am I going to weld a plate in this. Does that make sense? So the plate going across here, if I bring it back here, well, there's nothing to weld that plate, so I'd have to kind of create like a square type thing to do it. But this is looking pretty good. Okay, so before I get too far ahead of myself, just to kind of give you an update, I had to cut some notches right in there. I ended up cutting the whole back end piece out right here. So this is originally where the diff goes right there. And then I just had a piece that had an elbow on there. So what I'll end up doing is I'll weld this whole back end portion, and then I'll knock this to hit closer towards this portion and then weld that in. There'll be a spot that's not welded in, but I'll just kind of keep the strength and the rigidity of the subframe. And then yeah, that's the bolt for the diff right there. So the back is done. For the front, I ended up, it's just a big beefy piece of metal. And just drill out the holes. And this is actually from the Legacy. And then after I cut it, get a little piece, I'm gonna fill it up just so I have some minor ability to kind of move the pieces a little bit. But yeah, that'll go in there. And then yeah, start tacking this up together, pull the subframe and weld it up nice. It's coming along pretty straightforward. There's not a bunch of different ways you can do it. So you got some tacks in the back here, some tacks up on top there. Then we'll just kind of let it down and hopefully everything stays up on top there. Just want the jack pushes it forward as it goes down, so I'm pushing it back. And so we'll go ahead and put some plates up on there horizontally, kind of going across up there too to support it some more, and take the subframe out and start welding it like crazy. And yeah, it's working out really well. Here we are. Got the back plate tacked in right now. Got that bird turreted all up. Got the back plate also on. But yeah, just finished up welding this. I'm fixing these little tabs right here. It didn't go as well as bending it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So got some tacks in there. I'll grind it down a little bit and then finish up the welds and then clean it all up and then be right back. Check it out. Not too bad. Got that plate up front, on the bottom, and on the back side. The front's nice and supported. The back side here, you can see those tabs that I made on the bottom right there, and so it's just not a hole. I was gonna bang it forward, but then I was worried about that kind of enclosing in, so I didn't do it that way. The back side, I welded the welds down a little bit better. Try to keep it factory-ish looking. I'm gonna have a big old Fairlady Z 350Z diff hanging out the bottom of that, so it won't look too normal, but it is what it is. Here we are, subframe back in the car, and just bolting the last portion, so the subframe, because it's just a hole for the actual bolt. I got the diameter for the actual thicker portion of the stud. Should align it and centralize it pretty nice and well. Boom, so that we know it's snug there. I'll pull that stud off and I'll tighten it down a little bit more, but yeah, it's in there, guys. Boom, let her down. Sick. Wanted to show you guys before I started putting the axle in. You can see a decent amount up top that I had to grind down until I can actually get the drive shaft to start spinning. Alright, sorry for the funky angle. Just trying to document as much as I can for anyone that wants to do this in the future, but as you can see, it's like perfect. There's nothing holding it on. If I pull on it or push it, there's that good space that you can get through it. So there's good play for the shorter side. If I pull on it a little bit, I can get it to be about 10 millimeters. But I'm pulling out that side, and then I pull the long side out. The long side actually will go in now that I have the knuckles. Now that I have the knuckles cleared up, I think before it wasn't going in all the way, and I just didn't realize it. Now it spins, rotates perfectly fine. But if you look here, it's not really wanting to go in, but I could push it in. You know, there's not a lot of tension on it. So I could use two long sides. But as you can see, it's compressed right now. As the car goes lower, because it's got a little bit of droop right now, right? It's going down because the suspension is fully extended, and I got the diff in a really nice location. So when I go back in, but I could push it back in more too. It could end up binding though. I'm just worried about as my suspension compresses this. Once it's like, if it's angled down like this, I'm trying to get, sorry guys. If it's angled down, right, as you straighten it out, it's going to compress in. When it's drooping down, the CV joints are allowing it to kind of come out. So with it slightly angled, it's not angled that, I mean, it's hard to see right there. It's a very slight drop. Well, actually, it's pretty straight, I guess. All right, so to do my drive shaft, got to do a little bit of some sketchy stuff. It's only sketchy because it's you want it to be perfectly straight. It's probably not going to be, but it's just to get the car back on the road and out of here. I've already sent the measurements over to the drive shaft shop. It just takes them, according to the website, 8 to 10 weeks for them to actually get the drive shaft done. So I can't leave the car in here for 8 to 10 weeks. So I'm just gonna get something to get it to be able to be moved. And what I've done is I just cut the end of the drive shaft. And after I've cut that, I've sacrificed another one. I've already measured it out, and I will basically weld that to there. To try to get it straight, what I'm going to do is I've already hit the welds, the cuts in the belt sander, and then after I've mated it up, I'm going to basically take, and I'm going to just kind of tack weld it, and then just take this, lightly tack weld it so I can kind of bend it a little bit, and just try to get it straight as possible, and then weld it up and get it in the car. The yoke so this is the 350Z stuff. This thing's huge, right? Compared to the Legacy stuff. The good thing is I can actually, if you think of this being the circle yoke on the diff, what I'm going to do is put it on the side and then drill some holes for this pitch, right? So I'll have these sideways on there, and then when the drive shaft comes in, it'll still bolt to the original flanges. I'm not going to do anything with those. It's crazy. This 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters. So the actual central portion of the diff is the exact same. So this will like literally fit. So this is going to be straight. This right here is going to cause a little bit of vibration, but there's some bushing there. It should be okay. My only concern, and the reason why, even if like I could have tested this out, see if it worked, and then get a custom drive shaft, but this being as skinny as it is, I think it's going to be a weak point. Went through all this to go rear wheel drive and get a strong rear end, and then this thing starts breaking, and then I'm going to have to get another Legacy drive shaft, cut it, extend it, do it again. You might as well just do it right the first time. So, well, second time. First time is going to be this, as I'm waiting for the drive shaft. So yeah, get this all worked out, get it all welded up, and then I'll be back. It's about as good as it's going to get right there. Using the straight edge, you can see that there is a slight, so the drive shaft is just a tad bit to the side. Might get a little bit of vibration. Hopefully this little rubber bushing here is my saving grace. I'm not getting too worried about it. It's temporary, but that's about as good as you're gonna get with a straight hitch, I guess. But there you go. So now we'll drill the holes in the yoke and get the drive shaft in. So we're back. We have everything put back together. For the diff, I did have to get a left-hand side longer Fairlady or 350Z drive shaft. So again, one side's shorter than the other. I just got two longs, and it's compressed a little bit, but not binding, so it should be fine. That's what I'm gonna do. Sway bar was hitting the boot because the drive shaft is just so much more bigger. It was hitting around this area. Instead of using a Legacy one, which is a little bit longer, I had an Impreza one, a Blob-Eye STI end link, and it brought it down away from the boot. That worked out. And yeah, for the hubs, I'm gonna continue the rotors. I'm gonna continue to use. They used to be 5x100. Got them drilled to 5x114 and bored this out so it fits over the S15 hub. Now the problem is the S15 hub is a little bit wider than the Legacy, so your rotor sits out a little bit farther. So when you put your calipers, as you can see, I have the cartboy adapter for these Brembos. I had to cut out this backing plate just a little bit so that I can run spacers to bring, that's exaggerated, right? But I'm bringing them, the caliper farther away because the whole rotor is pushed back. If you don't, the rotor is pushing up against this a lot harder than it should. Most likely as you're driving, it's just gonna be rubbing against that brake pad the whole time. So, but that's pretty much it. That's like the final touch up of everything that I had to do. So to kind of wrap things up, it was, of course, you have to customize the main subframe to fit the 350Z diff. The S15 hubs to the Legacy knuckle was fairly simple. And then you have to do the custom drive shaft, the main drive shaft. You also have to adjust the sway bar. There's a lot. There's a good amount that you have to do. But very doable. If we could do it, you should be able to do it too. It's all basic fabrications. Get a MIG welder and weld that diff in there. Everything else is, the research is done for you pretty much, right? So I had guys share the information with me, so I'm sharing it with you guys. S15 hubs, 2 long 350Z main drive shafts. Depending on your sway bar setup, you may have to adjust the end links a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So far, so good. Let's get this thing together and
get burnouts.
Bunch of JDM cars out here, but MMF Auto is going to do the awards for just the different cars in the car show, and the Legacy won Best Subaru.
We did it. Put that trophy underneath the hood. Oh, hopefully it don't melt it. Thanks for supporting us. Even the community likes this Subaru. That's pretty cool.